So I want you to picture um, 100 mm macro lens.
Oh, that's a serious piece of glass.
Right. And the vows have just concluded, the officiant steps back, and the ceremony is reaching its absolute climax.
The ring exchange.
Exactly. The groom slides the ring onto the bride's finger. That single high-tension moment is being captured by an 8K resolution sensor, capable of rendering, honestly, microscopic details.
Yeah, the clarity on those sensors today is almost unforgiving.
Unforgiving is the perfect word, because
Uh-huh.
when you look at that resulting photograph, which is usually the defining visual of the entire event, you are not just looking at a diamond.
No, you're looking at human skin.
You're looking at human skin. You are looking at cuticles. You're looking at fingernails. And if the manicure isn't, specifically engineered to handle that level of optical scrutiny, the entire multi-thousand-dollar image just falls apart.
It really does. The visual dissonance in those situations is, well, it's jarring. You have a flawlessly cut gemstone, intricately woven lace on the gown, and then a chipped, poorly formulated polish completely hijacking the viewer's attention. Modern wedding photography relies entirely on aesthetic cohesion, and the hands are essentially the focal point of that cohesion.
Welcome to the deep dive. We are looking at the 2026 bridal landscape, where beauty prep has evolved far beyond, just booking a hair and makeup trial. Today, your manicure is a highly curated, precision-engineered art form.
It's basically structural engineering at this point.
It really is. Okay, let's unpack this. We are dissecting the three heavyweight bridal nail trends dominating the data this year, which are chrome, milky, and negative space.
The big three.
The big three. But because you already follow beauty and fashion, you don't need a basic catalog of what looks pretty. We are going to explore the underlying mechanics. Like, why are these specific finishes manipulating the algorithms, and how do they actually interact with high-definition camera sensors?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you have to understand the environment these manicures are subjected to. The entire medium of wedding photography has undergone a massive paradigm shift. I mean, 10 years ago, the quintessential wedding album was heavily documentary.
Like wide shots of the church.
Exactly. Wide shots, group photos, people dancing.
But I'll push back on this a bit, because there is an element of the wedding industry that constantly invents new things for you to worry about.
Absolutely.
Are we overthinking a manicure? I mean, structurally, the hand is doing the exact same job it did a decade ago.
Yeah, yes, the hand is the same, but the focal length has changed.
Oh.
Photographers today are operating essentially as high-end editorial fashion shooters. They are building a sensory narrative specifically optimized for vertical, high-resolution smartphone screens.
Right, because that's where everyone actually looks at the photos.
Exactly. Think about the shot list for a 2026 wedding. You have the extreme close-up of the engagement ring.
Yeah.
You have the bride's hands creating a tension grip on the floral bouquet. You have candid, soft-focus shots of fingers adjusting a veil. And
Oh, and those highly stylized flat lays, where the invitation suite, the jewelry, and the hands are arranged like a Renaissance still life.
yes, plus the cinematic hand-holding sequences.
Right, the couple walking away, swinging their hands, the camera tracking perfectly on their intertwined fingers, while the background melts into bokeh.
It's practically a movie scene. And because those images are ultimately viewed on OLED smartphone screens, the dynamic range is incredibly unforgiving.
Oh, I bet.
Any flaw in the nail bed, any streak in the polish is magnified tenfold. Your hands are essentially a featured character in the documentary of the day.
Which is why the beauty industry has had to pivot entirely.
Yeah.
You can no longer rely on standard salon formulas.
You really can't. The top trends of 2026 aren't just colors. They are specific optical solutions designed to look spectacular under intense, multi-directional lighting.
And that leads us right into the first massive trend of the year, chrome nails. You see this everywhere in the luxury bridal space right now.
Everywhere. It's inescapable.
And we aren't talking about that stark, robotic tinfoil silver from the early 2020s, right?
No, not at all.
We are seeing highly nuanced dimensional shades: pearl chrome, champagne, rose gold, soft silver, and this incredibly popular variation known as vanilla glazed chrome.
Oh, vanilla glazed chrome is a masterclass in light manipulation.
Really? How so?
Well, what you are actually seeing with a high-end chrome application is the physical alignment of microscopic pigment particles.
Wait, microscopic?
Yes. The nail technician rubs an ultrafine glass-like powder into a no-wipe gel top coat. The friction burnishes those particles until they lay perfectly flat, creating a continuous, unbroken reflective plane.
So it's basically the same principle as applying a high-end hydrophobic clear coat to a luxury sports car.
That is the exact mechanism.
You are sealing the surface so perfectly that light doesn't scatter when it hits it. It bounces back in a concentrated beam.
Exactly. And from a photographic standpoint, that specular reflection is a genius choice.
Why is that?
Because when a camera flash hits a matte or standard glossy nail, the light diffuses, it scatters. But when the flash hits a chrome finish, the nail physically interacts with the light source.
Oh, wow.
It creates these stunning, dynamic, hard-edged reflections. The manicure doesn't just sit there statically. It mirrors the warmth of the sunset. It catches the cool tones of the reception uplighting.
It becomes an active element in the photograph.
Yes, but you can't just slap a highly reflective chrome finish onto any nail.
Right, because if the structural shape is off, that continuous reflective plane you mentioned gets distorted.
Yeah.
Like a funhouse mirror.
Precisely. The geometry of the nail is absolutely critical for the chrome trend. You are seeing a massive shift toward elongated silhouettes, specifically almond, oval, and the soft coffin shape.
Now, a soft coffin shape feels surprisingly edgy for a traditional bridal gown. Doesn't that risk looking like a costume piece rather than a timeless aesthetic?
You would assume so, but it actually serves a very specific optical purpose.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The tapered, squared-off tip of a soft coffin shape forces the viewer's eye to travel longitudinally. It creates a forced perspective that elongates the metacarpal bones of the hand.
Because when you're photographing hands, the lens naturally wants to flatten and widen the subject.
Exactly. The soft coffin shape artificially lengthens the finger, counteracting the distortion of the camera lens, while the sleek geometry balances the high-impact shine of the chrome.
It's pure visual trickery.
It is.
And it works beautifully, especially when paired with satin gowns or heavy crystal accessories where the textures are already playing with light reflection.
It's a perfect match for that luxury aesthetic.
But let's say you are a bride who actively dislikes that level of glare. You want a softer, more diffuse aesthetic that doesn't compete with the ring.
The anti-chrome bride.
Exactly. That brings us to the second pillar of 2026, which is Milky nails.
Milky is the absolute inverse of chrome when it comes to light interaction.
Now, anyone following bridal fashion knows that Milky polishes have been a staple for a few years.
Oh, definitely.
But when you look at the 2026 data, the formulations and the applications have evolved significantly.
Yeah.
We aren't just talking about a watered-down white polish anymore.
No.
The Milky gels dominating right now are highly engineered opacity matrices. Wait, what exactly is the difference between a Milky nail and just, painting your nails solid white or clear?
What's fascinating here is how these new Milky formulas handle a concept in physics called subsurface scattering.
Subsurface scattering. Okay, tell me more.
Well, in the past, if a bride wore a solid, opaque white polish, the dense titanium dioxide pigments would essentially act like a solid wall.
Right.
The camera flash hits it, bounces off violently, and the nail blows out on the digital sensor, losing all detail and looking like, well, correction fluid against the skin.
Right, because standard opaque white has zero depth.
Yeah.
It just looks flat.
Exactly. And conversely, if you just wear a sheer clear coat, the high-definition macro lens picks up every single bruise, ridge, or discoloration in the natural nail bed beneath.
Which nobody wants captured in 8K.
No one. So the 2026 Milky formulations operate in the perfect middle ground. They utilize semi-transparent polymers that allow light to actually penetrate the first few microscopic layers of the polish.
Wait, so the light goes into the polish?
Yes. The light enters the polish, hits the natural pink keratin of the nail bed underneath, and then scatters back out.
Oh, I see.
This is the exact same way light interacts with human skin.
Which is why a Milky manicure looks so incredibly natural and romantic in photographs. It acts like a built-in, soft-focused diffusion filter for your fingertips.
That's exactly what it is. It creates a customized, hyper-flattering tone for every individual because it relies on the wearer's actual biology to complete the color profile.
That is so smart.
And the versatility is unmatched. Whether you have variations like Milky French tips, which completely blur the harsh demarcation lines of a traditional 1990s French manicure.
Oh, those harsh white lines from the 90s, yeah.
Right. Or if you add subtle pearl accents to a Milky nude almond nail, it just reads as understated classic elegance.
It seamlessly adapts to the environment. Like if you were having a lush garden wedding or standing in a grand historic ballroom, the Milky nail doesn't fight the setting.
It just belongs there.
It just looks like an idealized, perfectly healthy version of your own hand. But for the contemporary bride, someone who wants to push the envelope without sacrificing elegance, there is a third major trend.
Ah, yes.
Here's where it gets really interesting. We need to analyze negative space nails.
This is the intersection of high fashion and architectural restraint.
Architectural restraint, I like that. When I look at these designs, I immediately think of modern museum curation.
How so?
Well, in a high-end contemporary art space, the impact of a sculpture isn't just about the bronze or the marble. It is about the vast, empty white room surrounding it.
The breathing room around the art.
Yes, it is the strategic use of nothingness. With negative space nails, what you deliberately leave bare is what actually makes the visual statement.
Architectural restraint is a perfect lens for this. You are seeing nail artists leave large portions of the natural nail completely bare or merely coated in a high-gloss, ultra-sheer base to create a canvas for minimalist interventions.
We're seeing incredibly precise applications, like a single razor-thin metallic line bisecting the nail horizontally.
Or asymmetrical geometric patterns.
Yeah, or tiny isolated pearls suspended on an otherwise naked nail bed.
Yeah.
Or abstract microfloral details that you only notice when the camera zooms all the way in.
And the reason this appeals so fiercely to the modern minimalist demographic is visual weight.
Visual weight.
Yeah. Heavy, fully opaque polishes carry a significant amount of visual mass. They draw the eye downward.
Okay, that makes sense.
Negative space designs are airy. They are visually lightweight. They allow the bride to wear a highly customized avant-garde piece of micro art, but from 10 feet away, the hand still reads as incredibly clean and unobstructed.
But there's a massive catch with negative space, isn't there?
Oh, a huge one.
Because you are leaving 60 to 80% of the nail bed exposed. If your natural keratin is damaged, peeling, or deeply ridged, you cannot hide behind a thick layer of color.
You really can't.
The negative space trend demands absolute structural perfection underneath.
It does. It requires a flawless canvas, which bridges perfectly into the logistical reality of executing these 2026 aesthetics.
Right.
Knowing the trend is irrelevant if the execution fails, and pulling off these manicures for high-definition photography requires an intense biological and chemical prep timeline.
It really does. I mean, the prep protocols in the data actually read like an athletic training schedule.
They do.
They are telling brides to start intensive cuticle hydration and keratin strengthening regimes weeks, sometimes months in advance.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask, is that level of obsession genuinely necessary, or is it just another way to upsell salon services?
This raises an important question about the reality of the medium. It is biologically necessary.
Really? Months in advance?
Yes, because the nail plate is composed of tightly packed layers of a protein called keratin, sandwiched with natural lipids and oils.
Oh.
If those layers are dehydrated, they become brittle and begin to delaminate. They peel.
Oh, right.
If you attempt to apply a heavy gel polish or a chrome powder over a delaminating nail bed, it is the structural equivalent of trying to paint over rusted, flaking metal.
So the polish physically cannot bind to the surface.
Exactly. It will inevitably chip, usually right at the tip where the structural stress is highest, and the skin surrounding the nail is just as vital.
Because of the macro lens again.
Yes. Dry, cracked cuticles create harsh shadows under macro photography. No amount of editing can naturally restore the look of a healthy, hydrated cuticle without making the finger look digitally blurred and artificial.
So the timeline actually matters. You cannot repair weeks of dehydration with one drop of cuticle oil the morning of the wedding.
You absolutely cannot.
The data also emphasizes doing a full trial run of the manicure, meticulously coordinating the opacity and tone with the specific metals of the engagement ring and the fabric of the dress.
It's all about that aesthetic cohesion again.
Yeah, right. And then there is the absolute mandate for long-lasting UV gel polish. Why has standard air-drying polish been completely eradicated from the bridal space?
It comes down to polymer chemistry and durability.